All right, this is the first episode of Cut the Bullshit with Nikki and Abhi. I'm Nikki.
I'm Abhi.
All right, so today we're talking about branding. So Abhi, what are your thoughts on branding a business? Why is it so important?
Because it is. I mean, if you don't brand your business properly, whether it's a name, whether it's a keyword, whether it's your idea, then you're done. I mean, in today's day and age, it has to be catchy. It has to be something that is meaningful, something that makes impact for yourself, for your customers, for your clients, and it's something that you need to be able to leverage. And if it's not appropriately done,
right,
then it could be hazardous, I feel, for a business. Real estate deal talk, for example. You know, it's something that I created. We're 3 episodes in now, and really I could have named it anything. It could have been, I don't know, XYZ. But if it didn't have the right character, if it didn't have the right information, if it wasn't communicating what I wanted it to communicate, this is great.
This is branding for the city of Atlanta.
And noise pollution.
You're not in Atlanta if you don't hear a fire truck go by.
No, absolutely. And so, if it's not done properly, you can't leverage the brand. And that's where I feel many people go wrong with that. Just my initial thought.
So why did you decide on Real Estate Deal Talk as the name for your series?
Because I feel like discussion around real estate is important. An open, honest discussion around real estate is important.
Right.
Real estate education is a world where you have a lot of these fly-by-night gurus who sell a system, who have different thoughts, and really they take money from people that blindly give them thousands of dollars without getting a whole lot of value in return.
Right.
And that's what I'm here to annihilate, essentially, is you don't need to spend $30,000 or $40,000, $50,000 on education.
Right.
In fact, give me $20,000 or $30,000. I'll give you a return and a great education for free.
Right.
And everything that we're doing is for free. And I feel like, you know, that's how I learned, honestly. I didn't pay. I didn't pay to go to a seminar and on a weekend seminar and spend the 30, 40, 50, 60 to be part of a system.
Right.
I found a mentor and I learned the hard way. And you know, we pay our dues in the frame of time.
Right.
And we offer value to somebody who's willing to teach us and coach us.
Right.
And if I can talk about that, the experience and real estate deals that we're currently doing in hopes that somebody else can actually learn from them,
right,
then I feel that's the biggest motivator for me as more of an experienced individual in real estate, to impress upon individuals that are just starting out.
Right.
To be better and to learn and to grow and to push themselves.
Right.
Because ultimately you can go to a seminar, you can go rah-rah about it for like 5 days.
Right.
And you know, 99% of the people will never do stuff afterwards. They'll never take that next step. They'll never move forward.
Right.
And that's a problem for me. And so if I can kick some of these people in the ass and say, y'all just suck, hopefully, you know, I might get some flack for that. But
right,
I think overall we'd get further as a real estate investing society.
I think what's really interesting about your approach to branding is that you really know your audience well. And so that's sort of like what we were talking about a little bit earlier with flip my funnel versus flip the funnel.
Right.
So we knew going into it that our audience had, every funnel looked different. Mm-hmm. And so we knew that the funnel was very personal. And that's why we decided to brand it Flip My Funnel, because we really wanted people to feel a sense of ownership of their sales funnel. Mm-hmm. Because they really do have more control over it than they think they do. And that's really the idea of flipping the funnel, is right, that you already know who you want to come out at the end. So why don't you start with those best fit people first?
That's a very good point. I mean, I feel like if you start with that mindset and you have that mindset always moving forward, mm-hmm, you always, whether it's Flip My Funnel, whether it's a brand that you feel you can grow,
right,
you start with that end in mind and you start with who you're catering to,
right,
then you'll hit that and you'll hit that goal. And sure, it's going to be tough. I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've known each other for 8 years. I don't even know
wow,
how long. Definitely.
It's a long time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we start with an idea. We start with a concept. We start with where we think we want to be.
Right.
And the more we learn about ourselves and the more we learn about what we're selling and who we're selling to,
right,
then it becomes a lot easier to take that into a model and take that into a brand and create a brand that's meaningful.
Right.
And I think you've done that marvelously well. And I think that's super cool.
Well, and I think another part of it too is another part of the branding is the power truck going by. So I think another part of it too that's worked really well for both of us is that we both had personal experience. So for me as a marketer, I've had personal experience of trying to drive leads through the funnel only for them to like fall out at certain points. And for you, you've had personal experience with deals that have just like failed miserably. So you know how it feels, and you know that in either situation it doesn't really feel that great. Either as a marketer, you're working really hard to push leads through the funnel, and the reality is that people don't close leads, they close accounts.
Right.
And so you may or may not have the right lead in the funnel, and you may or may not be targeting the right person, but the reality is that you're working a lot harder than you need to be.
Right.
And so for you, you know what it takes to push a deal through now because you've gone out there and you've probably made every mistake that you can. So now, and you don't want somebody else to have to go through that. So
right. So let's say there's somebody that's new that's listening to this.
Okay.
Right? What can they take away if they want to get to where you are in the world, in your space, in the tech space, in the social media space, and they're just starting out?
I think
what would be like the top 3 things that you could offer?
The first one is to really know your audience.
Okay.
Get to know your audience inside and out. And social media makes it super easy for you to do that through the use of hashtags, LinkedIn groups, forums. If you're a marketer and you're like on Growth Hackers or you're on Inbound or any of those sites, you can really see what people are talking about and what the pain points are. And then I would say that the next part is to really almost start writing about that. Like start creating content around that. And the other part of that is, I would say the third thing is start having conversations with people, whether it's on forums or whether it's live in person like you and I do. And we're sort of just exchanging ideas and hashing things out. But I think if you do those 3 things, if you, 1, get to know your audience, 2, you start to get involved in those forums, and then you start to have conversations about those things, you really get to know.
So what's like the best way then to open up a forum post or a forum reply and just say like what, if I'm just dumb as hell, in take me in this case, I know nothing about anything.
Right.
Do I obviously I register for the forum, I register for LinkedIn, I'm on there, I find a group that kind of represents the audience that I eventually want to cater to.
Right.
Do I write a forum post or a blog post about something, or do I like a post? How do I reply to people? What would be
so you can do it a couple of different ways. One is to respond to people's posts. And I think that that's super important, especially within forums, because if you don't do that and you just go in and start posting, then you're going to look like a spammer.
Gotcha.
So what you want to do is go in and start responding to people's posts. And often you'll find that you have more experience than you think that you do.
Okay.
And so you'll go in and somebody might be asking a question and you might say to yourself, oh, I've been in that scenario before. Let me go offer my suggestions for what people can do for that scenario. The other thing that you can do is to turn that pain point or whatever problem that person might be having in the forum into a blog post. So you write a blog post about what those people are experiencing. And then you can either go post it in the forum, you can post it on social media, but you really start to become a thought leader and an expert in that space.
And you hit it on the head earlier too when you said you got to make it personal. Right. You don't just want to be some robot online that's outsourcing all your stuff to other people in the Philippines to post for you or to write your own stuff, because then you lose your voice. Right. And then when you eventually write your own content, then people think to themselves, well, wow, it's not really Abhi that was writing it, it's somebody else that was writing it all this time. Right. And then when he actually writes, there's a total night and day difference. Right. And so that makes absolute sense. So
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Do you think that it's smart to outsource that? Can anybody else do that for you? Like, can you hire an intern to go and answer questions for Abhi?
Man, that's a tough one. So I've been battling this recently. I've been battling this literally for the last couple days.
Okay.
And I feel like if I'm on Twitter, my voice and my responses on Twitter would be massively different, or are massively different, than somebody that I coached to be me in another country, or an intern that I found at Georgia Tech or Georgia State or Emory or whoever,
Right.
to do that for me.
Right.
Everybody has their own way of writing, their own way of communicating. Like me, I like to yell at people. I like to get on people's ass.
Call bullshit.
Right? Completely. And so I enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't think, honestly, I think we need to get more away from that.
Okay.
We need to get more away from outsourcing that to somebody that's writing on our behalf.
Right.
Now, I'm writing articles for different magazines, I'm writing columns for different magazines, and sure, I could go to, constantcontent.com and pay for a very well written article.
Right.
Probably something better written than what I can put together.
Right.
But it's not me, and it's not what I represent.
Right.
It wouldn't be my words. And so the question then is, am I okay with that? If I'm okay with that, then fine, I guess I would go ahead and do it.
Right.
But I don't think that's a great long-term strategy, because then you lose who you are.
Right. So, Abhi, you're a really busy guy, insanely busy guy. You start at before the sun comes up in the morning, and you're often working after the sun goes down. So how do you find time to do that?
So there are a couple ways. One, I like to carry my phone with me everywhere.
Right.
And so if I'm on a quick coffee break, I can check my LinkedIn messages. I can check my forum posts and forum. I've subscribed to a couple of real estate forums.
Okay.
And so I get updates from that, and I get email updates from that.
Okay.
And so really, it comes down to priorities, I feel. If you want to block out time on a daily basis, which I've done in my calendar,
Right.
even if it's 15 minutes, you're not hurting your time overall during the day for a highly leverageable activity.
Right.
If you spend 15 minutes a day, or even 3 times a day, and respond to LinkedIn posts,
Right.
tweets, Facebook posts, it's not hard to do. And block time off. If it's important, block time off. If it's not important, you're not going to do it anyway, so go fuck off. That's what I got to say. If breathing is important to you, right, you're going to breathe. You're not going to breathe.
Right.
It's that vital. Actually, that's not a proper use of a double negative, but you get my drift. You are not going to breathe. You have to breathe. I'm still messing that up.
All right, and with that, I think that's our first episode of Cut the Bullshit with Nikki and Abhi. See you next time.
See you guys. Did that work? Hit stop.
Hold on.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Oh, no,
we don't really know what we're doing.